What's up, guys, and welcome to a very early loot chest. We originally set out to do a loot chest where we discuss our favorite worlds in gaming and worlds we'd want to live in, and we found out that there's a lot to talk about. So we're chopping it up, and we're going to do our show today, and then have another section of it for you on Friday. In case you didn't know, this is Tasty Loot Gaming, and my name's Seth.
I'm Josh.
And this is my brother Chevy. And we're gonna start the discussion now. Okay, so we're just gonna get right into it. We're gonna start off with you. What is your first pick for? Not necessarily his favorite. We might revisit this subject at some point or this discussion. But
one of my favorites.
Yeah, what's one of your favorite worlds in games?
Mass Effect.
Okay.
Universe. I think it's not really world.
Yeah,
it's just a fucking universe. I think it's really neat. I think I love like the sci-fi. It's very like almost like campy kind of sci-fi. I love that vibe.
Well, the original Mass Effect was based off of 70s sci-fi, and then they strayed away from that a little bit in the next ones, but I still think some of that lives on in the newer games. So the campiness, definitely would come from that.
I think the Citadel is a cool fucking city. Like that weird New York kind of melting pot of all the races. And species.
And all the neon lights and shit too, kind of giving me like a Blade Runner kind of feel.
Yeah, I love how it looks. I love spending time in that world. I love the lore, like the Reaper's arc and stuff like that. Like every 50,000 years, there's a great filter that fucking just destroys everything. Which, if you think about it, I don't think everybody. I mean, people know now because the Reaper straight up just tried to destroy the fucking Citadel. But like for the longest time, you're just trying to fight off these fucking Reapers, and probably everybody in the galaxy doesn't really know. Like it's not like shown on like a vid like Starship Troopers. It's just fucking like, which to me is almost scary. Like there's just impending doom, and like there's someone out there trying to fight it, but you're just like, you don't know. Like I mean,
well, it's the same as when you hear about news over in Afghanistan or whatever. Here, we're not there with bombs going off and shit, and houses blowing up, and people dying. We're just like, oh, it's going well or it's going bad. Same thing with that.
Yeah, I like the characters. I think it'd be a fun. It's a fun world.
Yeah, and that's. Obviously not my pick, but like I think it's a good one because sci-fi is always a good bet. I mean, it's always interesting. It always has room to evolve and change. Whereas like a fantasy world, it's kind of set in its ways. Obviously, it's its own pros and cons, but sci-fi is always, it can just keep going and changing and getting crazier and crazier and shit. So. And like I'm not the biggest Mass Effect fan, but Mass Effect 2 is awesome. I actually beat it twice, which is weird. I did very much enjoy the visual aesthetic of everything in the world. I thought the ships look cool. I think the suits look cool. They look a lot better than Mass Effect 1's weird fucking 70s white suits and shit. The different locales are neat, albeit some of them a little cliche, but for the most part, it does. I mean, even if it's cliche, does have a really good look to it. It took good sci-fi elements. That's based off of, and yeah, the I think again the wealth of like alien types makes it an interesting place to visit. Even those weird fucking like slow moving guys who do like, was it like opera or something?
Oh yeah,
they're not main characters, but they're in
and
the world.
And they don't, when they speak, they're like they say their emotion before they're like
because they don't physically emote it.
Hanar. No, the Hanar is like those pink gooey fucking tentacle things.
Oh yeah.
I'm drawing a complete blank. It's been a while.
You guys know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So like even the ones that aren't even integral to the fucking storyline of the game still exist. I feel still give an expansion to the feeling of the world.
They don't feel like janky, like just thrown in there.
No, they're cool. They're interesting.
Every single alien race had something kind of neat and different about them.
Yeah, the only alien race in that game I think are kind of like meh and lame are the blue ones. But
sorry.
Yeah. Obviously, I'm not a huge fan of the game, but they're fun. Everybody loves the Asari, and don't fucking crucify me if you watch this and don't agree. But I think they're just kind of cliche. They remind me of something straight out of like Star Trek. They like to fuck and stuff like that.
James T. Kirk visits them.
Exactly. Yeah. Just seeing, and maybe that's the point. Maybe it's an homage, and that's cool. It's just not really with the other like those. God, I can't reference anything, but the big dudes. The
Kroger.
Yeah.
Krogan.
Yeah. Those guys.
Kroger.
I mean, they're very much. They're pretty much Worf. They're fucking. Whatever those guys.
They're a war species.
Yeah, but they're cool. I like that they're fucking just these fucking tanks of dudes.
They're wreck shit.
I actually really appreciate I believe it's the third game where you actually get to see their homeworld, and you could tell that's all they do is war.
I think that was two.
Second game.
Was it the second game?
Chenka.
You go there,
Chanka?
and you visit there to find some dude or
Are
something.
you sure it's not the third game because
I didn't play the third game.
It's the second game because I actually finished the second game. I didn't finish the third game.
What I
See,
did.
I'm thinking of third game because you
Maybe
go
you revisit.
to the throne. I could be completely wrong, but I thought like you go, and he's sitting. The guy from the previous game is on the throne.
Rex.
Yeah, maybe that was the first.
Yeah,
game.
and then you
Second
bring the baby, whatever the fuck his name is, the one that you like found. What the fuck is? Anyway, yeah, and then you're supposed to talk to Rex, and like he's supposed to go through this trial to become an actual like Krogan because your Krogan doesn't really have a homeworld or fucking whatever.
because he was made.
Yeah, and so then you fight that sandworm thing.
Yes.
Yeah, and then you come back and he's
That
like,
was the
"Oh,
second.
praise fucking Krogan God." Yeah, so yeah, but like, and that's one thing, man. Is the lore is fucking huge.
And it is a world that is definitely connected with its lore. It's not just you're in a blank slate world with good lore. The world fits. It works. Like you feel like you're going to these locations with history, with the species that is shaped in, stuff like that.
Treated with complete respect.
Yeah, that just goes to show that that every individual aspect of the Mass Effect universe world is like you said, respected and is well crafted. I think it's a really good pick. How about you go for next?
Sure. I'm actually going to go with Columbia from Bioshock Infinite.
Okay.
I really love the steampunk look, floating in the sky, amazing set pieces. The world just seems really cool too. They're just so like, it's just so normal for them. It feels they've lived there for a long time.
Yeah.
The floating pieces connecting on a schedule and stuff like that. It's just part of life. Even going into the shops, it's really neat to see like the interactions. Like right in the beginning of the game, even you have the guy sitting getting his shoes shined, talking about things that are important to him. Kind of like not even caring about the guy doing his shoes. He's kind of below him, but it's just neat because it's some life to that world.
It's like a class system.
And then a little twinge of fantasy in there. You got besides the floating city, obviously, but I can't remember what they're called, but you drink the
Plasmids.
yeah.
Oh, so you're gonna be able to reference all this shit.
And then all of a sudden you have powers, and that's not weird. That's normal. So I don't know.
Well, and I was actually gonna. BioShock in general is on my list.
Yeah.
So obviously that's knocked off now, but Rapture even counts in that too as well.
I was going to say like the world, like so Rapture also. Yeah,
Rapture as well, and to just piggyback off what you're talking about, maybe we can move into Rapture a little bit. The thing I love about the world of BioShock is both areas I think are some of the most creative places I've ever seen in a fucking game.
They're gorgeous.
Really well thought out. Have their own atmospheres. I don't think Rapture and fucking Columbia, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Are not similar in any way. They're completely different places.
not,
Even down to the people who were there.
I think
They're both
opposite. Yeah,
they
it's
both got
like-
their crazy going on, but they're different kinds of crazy, which is
Right.
really the interesting thing there. I've played all of them, and I barely played BioShock 2 though. But they completely feel different. Like whereas you have Rapture, which is underwater, which I think is so fucking neat, and people lived there before things went crazy and shit. And again, the magic power stuff was just in vending machines. So it's just really, I almost would like to see what that world was like before things went to shit. Because it's really, really interesting. But yeah, the crazy there is different. It's more ominous and creepy because things are in the shadows. It's all dark. It's all underwater.
Yeah.
Things are more stealthy and stuff like that. Whereas like in Colombia, it's up in the sky. It's bright. It's really fucking beautiful and cheery looking, and you're in the clouds. Like everything's about it is so fucking atmospheric and neat, but like everyone's just batshit nuts and insane, and you got all these like robots running amok. They're like,
like
patriotic, and like
there's
there's
huge
this
like religious cult.
there's this,
and that's what I was gonna say. It's like Infinite is like a religious, zealous, like culty
compound
kind of nuts, and Rapture is almost like you've been in a dark room for too long, kind of nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
no, that's really where I put it for sure.
And like another thing too, very grounded. Like there's a reason why both those cities are there. There's a reason.
Yeah,
you know,
nothing exists
and
for
like,
reasons,
and you
for sure.
yeah, and you can see like their. I actually kind of really like how it's like very grand ideas come through.
Fucking really grand. That's
Like-
what I like about it.
Yeah, is like,
there was this original plan, and it fell.
yeah,
and now you're
and
seeing
whether
that
it being
after.
like too robust or too, but yeah, it was
It's too big of an idea.
really. I mean, like Colombia, there's really nothing wrong with it from the inside.
Yeah.
Like they were just living in peace.
City's dope.
Then
You
Booker
screwed
fucking
up.
shows up and starts to wreck shit.
Yeah.
For good reason, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the world is so neat. Fucking Andrew Ryan was cool. Comstock was cool.
Well, but also like the Vox Populi was rebelling,
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Which was that was like
which showed there was unrest.
that was
in
like
the
the
city.
Irishman.
But they were
and,
kind of like looking over it from a very much like white perspective of just like,
Well,
oh,
yeah,
whatever.
the Vox Populi like reminded me of like Irish immigrants like back in the United States.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they were just kind of stepped all over and told, hey, go clean the fucking bathroom or fucking whatever. And then or they were like the janitors, servers.
A lot of Irish people were cops because no one would be cops back then because no one respected them. Criminals were fucking killing shit like that. So Irish people had to do it when they first got here.
And just a quick detail again is that I really like, very much like when you brought up your pick, that it's very well thought out. They went through, they made sure everything's detailed, even like the motorized horses on carriages, the zip line system with the
Skyhook. Let's say Skyhook's dope. That also makes the world in itself really neat.
Fucking yeah.
Yeah, and then I don't know, the whole thing is just really well thought out. I really love that world.
Yeah.
Even if
I want to see more.
yeah, it's neat, and I mean, I don't think we're gonna see more now
Which sucks.
Yeah, but
Because what's that's left?
yeah, very very
Ken Levine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
something you really just haven't seen. So.
Yeah,
Well, that's the thing. Is it's so fresh and new and interesting and so full of fucking imagination. And like, I want to see like a third place from the same mind. I want to see more of Rapture. I want to see more of Columbia. Just because they're that cool. They're that interesting. I mean, that's a really good pick. Just because those are worlds, and like I said, I also have that on my list. So. Those are worlds that I definitely, even though I'm not the biggest like BioShock fan, even though I do like them, like gameplay wise, the worlds are on their own, so unique.
Right.
You can look at a BioShock game and go, it's fucking BioShock, because nothing looks like that. Nothing, nothing even close. Not any movies.
Yeah.
There's nothing. It's seriously like it's just its own individual thing. It's so fucking cool.
Yeah, and all the characters are neat.
Yep. Very individualized. Very realized in their own crazy world.
Stories are fucking neat, are like really awesome. Again, it's very, very unique. Each story is very, very unique. I really like. I really like how that they really changed Columbia to the point where you're like, this is nothing like Rapture, and like the whole Big Daddy thing. It's not even in fucking Columbia. Like, there's nothing
Well,
even
that's actually something I was going to bring up.
referencing it. Yeah.
Is I like that the enemy types are things that essentially just kind of existed there and went haywire. So, for instance, the big daddies, they're obviously meant to go underwater because they're in those fucking scuba suits,
Right.
And now they're just kind of wandering around Rapture and shit, which is creepy. But but it's really cool. Like it fits the lore. The characters make sense, and they're fucking scary. Just like in Colombia, you have all these like haywire fucking robots and fanatical people. But the robots, I think, are the more interesting ones because it shows that when the place was originally built, it was built in that time where we were all patriotic in America and all that shit, and all these like Abraham Lincoln fucking robots fucking talking about the greatness of the United States, and they literally are just spouting off a bunch of crazy shit when they're like going haywire trying to kill you and stuff like that. And it's just like propaganda, and it's nothing like Rapture.
In fact, one of the main villains in fucking Infinite is a fucking eagle.
Yep.
So I
forgot all about that. Fuck.
Yeah.
The giant fucking bird.
Yeah, I forgot that was an eagle.
No,
I think it was scary.
Fucking A, it was.
I almost want to
even it was
replay
detailed.
that game.
I've been like kind of dabbling in it ever since we got the new graphics card, and it still looks great. So,
I think that was a really good pick.
Good pick.
Yeah, like I said, on my list too. So just fucking knock that out. Yeah. Okay, and so for my first world, I could pick Metal Gear Solid. You guys know I love Metal Gear Solid. But it's actually not a world I love. I love the people in it, I love the technology, all the shit, but the world itself is fucked. I don't even. It's awful. It's a shitty place.
Yeah.
It's the characters and the storyline that's so great about that game. Otherwise it's here. It's here with technology. So my pick is Lordran and Drang Lake from Dark Souls series.
okay, yeah.
And I picked those two because even though technically they're different games, there's enough storyline to really link them. So I believe they're in the same world. The reason I picked those though is I haven't played a game so fucking atmospheric and so on its own in the way it's presented. Especially like Dark Souls 2, Drang Lake is such a haunting place. And again, we're talking about a place being built up and then crumbling. That's literally what Drang Lake is. Drang Lake was a fucking kingdom that fell to evil essentially. But like you can really see that. There's all these people kind of wandering around. They don't want to go too deep into the castle because that's where all the shit's at. But like you get that feeling even from the beginning when you meet those old ladies in that house. They're saying you're gonna die, and then you go to Majula. And it's just fucking gorgeous. It's so hauntingly beautiful because like it's like the sunset's happening and it's peaceful, but it's got that really creepy fucking music. It's almost like ominous, like what's to come once you actually leave this place. But it feels safe in a way. But like it's really haunting. And then like you go through like the woods and it's just like it has like this great progressive feeling. Like from Majula, you can just see the castle you're going to go to. You can see all the places you'll be going to at some point. And you see those landmarks as you keep traveling. Just like Dark Souls. Dark Souls is really dark. The original Dark Souls.
And I think a lot of people would argue that Dark Souls connects better than Dark Souls 2 does from zone to zone.
Sure. So. But still, the world in general.
Yeah.
The design is just so fucking... Like, even the beginning of Dark Souls, when you first go there, you look over to the left, and there's this huge fucking wall, just massive, of the side of the castle or whatever. And there's, like, a giant fucking crow and shit. Like, the world is just so creepy and unsettling.
Right.
And something that you... It really does a good job on making you not want to progress, but having to progress. Because if you stay here, you'll die, essentially. The world has a really good feeling of just like there is no safety, but there's still people left, so there's people worth saving. That I think a lot of games don't capture. It doesn't have that weird hopelessness that like you feel like that there's nothing that you can do, but you have to try. And I think that's an emotion that it's insane. I feel from just visuals, and that's why the world itself is really cool. I would say also that Bloodborne, but it's not the same. So, but yeah, no, it's just fucking it's gorgeous.
It's hauntingly beautiful.
Yeah.
Like it's oh no, I know that was weird sound.
My pretty much I've said that like 3 times.
Yeah, well, it's just like You're right. Like whenever I step into the world of Dark Souls, I'm like it's like, Jesus Christ, these people have to live here. Like,
Exactly.
It fucking sucks, man. Like, and sucks in like in like a. There's evil everywhere, and
As soon as you leave
it's
any
just-
safe place.
it's just human instinct to scratch and claw and survive. Instead of just being like, all right, well, I'm done.
Well, you never feel like, unless you're like super powerful in Dark Souls, like you feel like in other games where you're the hero, where you have the equipment to fucking take care of shit and you run and kill dudes. Like that game, like every fight is like, I have to fucking beat this dude.
I have
He
to be on
could
my
kill
shit.
me. And once I get past him, there's more shit to fight, and I have to do that
exactly.
with everybody.
That
You're
game
literally
to
just
me
kind of
feels
battling
like,
through this dark ass world that's just there to fucking kill you, and it's a horrible place.
to me it almost feels like it's
beautiful.
fucking like a lot of like every enemy is technically like a boss battle. Like
Mini boss battle, yeah.
yeah, like I
And there
have
even
to
is
kill
mini
him,
bosses.
I have to fight him, I have to, and then you get to a real boss, and you're like, Jesus fucking Christ, like,
Even like when you die, you're set back.
yeah,
You have to fucking go through that again.
yeah, which is, yeah, it's such, you're it's helpless, almost like, well, what am I even fucking doing? Why should I save this place?
Exactly. But there's still like these elements of hope or whatever that
Little beacons of light,
yeah, it's really weird. You meet characters on the way too every once in a while, and it's not very often. But even though they're NPCs, every once in a while when I find some dude who's in the location and he talks to you for a split second, you're like, I'm not alone here. And then again, another reason why I think the world is hauntingly beautiful and just really eerie and just neat is there's ghosts running around everywhere,
Right.
From essentially other dimensions, doing the same thing you're doing. So you never feel completely alone in this battle, because there's other people doing the same thing all over the place, dying and fighting and shit like that. And I mean, you can, in the world, of course, bring people into your world and shit, and for a limited time, like work together to try and keep going and stuff. I don't know. It's everything about it is haunting is the best word possible for the feeling of the world. It's just eerie and desolate, and just really. And the thing that's amazing about it too is you guys both bring up games that are lore heavy, and Dark Souls is absolutely lore heavy, but not up front. You have to look for it.
Yeah, it's not fed to you.
You get this feeling of atmosphere and ambition and drive from nothing, just from the atmosphere of the game, which I think is really telling of the world. The world itself makes me want to keep going.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting. And just seeing the new locales, all the locales in the game are so individual and different, and even from both games, they're both same in theme and tone, but like the locations are so fucking different.
Well, even if you included the predecessor,
Demon Souls,
Demon Souls,
which there's theories it's also connected.
well, and even in the intro to that game, it talks about this kingdom, and then this evil essentially happens, but it's growing. So it's not that people want to go in there; it's that it's slowly going to engulf the world.
Yeah.
So people are sending heroes in there. No one ever comes out.
Well, and again, I'm intrigued by all the storylines because they're so hopeless. Again, I love the storyline of Demon Souls because I like that this fog essentially took over this castle, and people on the outside are like, "The fuck's happening in there?" So they send people in there, they never come out. That's like fucking good horror movie shit. That's a story I would love to see in a fucking movie. And I love that you're playing this dude who's going to do that. You're going in, you're finding out what the fuck's going on there, and you go in there, the place is just everyone's dead, and there's fucking monsters everywhere and shit. It's horrifying.
Yeah.
That's scary shit.
Well, the first boss, the Phalanx or whatever.
Phalanx,
You're
yeah.
sitting there just fighting essentially zombies the whole time, or skeletons, and then all of a sudden, there's this blob that's just covered in shields and spears.
But the thing that's great about all the games too is all the bosses have lore. They all came from somewhere. They don't exist just to exist as monsters.
no, there's reason.
So like those Phalanx dudes were probably people at some point.
Yeah.
Probably in the military. I don't know. I didn't look into it. But yeah, so they're still doing their routine, but now they're under something else's control.
Yeah.
They're gone. They're dead.
I think in all three games, it's a king. The
Yeah.
old that is controlling everything. So.
Just like further in, not too far into Dark Souls 2, there's that dude with the lance that you fight, and he was like some dragon rider who there used to be a bunch of them. They'd fly around with lances on dragons, and they were just fucking soldiers.
Yeah.
And now this guy's dead. He's a zombie. You're fighting him. So it's cool. They all have that much background lore if you want to look into it. Fuck, I was gonna say something else too, and I completely lost it. It had to do with Demon Souls. I don't know. I just really like the idea of these events that happen where anybody, any soldier, any person who's playing the game, of course, is willing to take up the task of essentially probably gonna go die, because you do, and
Become hollow.
and you're going in to die, literally, like everybody else, and hopefully fucking try and fix the problem that's happening.
Yeah, you're always the special case in all three games too. Like you you're dead, but you still have your humanity.
Yeah. So in a weird way, you're like the chosen one type.
Yeah.
Thing. Even though in the very much the theme of the game, it's a dark way that you are the chosen one. You actually die, but you're hollow. You fucking start decomposing and shit. So. It's really weird. It's really dark,
You
but
absorb souls to become more powerful. So
it's really cool. I love the
Demon
theme
Souls.
across all of them. Yeah, I love the gothic tone and shit. It's great. So
Yeah, it's a gnarly world.
yeah.
Good pick.
All right, what do you got for number 2?
We plugged this game a lot, and I'm
Oh.
almost done with it now. So, The Witcher 3.
I didn't even think of that one.
That fucking world, man.
Witcher 3's got a really fucking cool
It's
world.
gnarly, and like it's scary too. It is one of those worlds where like, I mean, people aren't necessarily like scratching for survival.
It is scary though. The fucking every town you go into, people need your help with some kind of fucking thing that's taking people out in the woods and killing them and shit.
Yeah, or like everybody's like, don't wander out in the woods at night.
Yeah. Or there's a ghost up the road. And
yeah, there's
fucking
wild dogs and fucking
doing the boogie.
all sorts of shit that can just kill you. I mean, there's even a war fucking happening. So it's just like
There's a lot going
it's
on.
almost like to the point like let's kill monsters, not kill each other. Like fucking, we have towns and shit that are being sieged by ghouls and crap like that, or and there's like all sorts of different kinds of creatures. I swear, there's trolls, there's fucking giants, there's elementals, golems.
It's an elemental.
There's all sorts of shit, and it's a scary world, I think, to be in.
Oh yeah,
and like
that's the feeling I get from that game though. Like the two things about that, almost in the same vein as Dark Souls, is the world is beautiful, but like it's so like Eastern European and visual. It's never like perfectly sunny out. It's always kind of half cloudy.
Yeah.
It's always kind of breezy or windy. The trees are creaking, which I love in the atmosphere, and the fields are just vast and beautiful. But then like in this world, it's almost like kind of like, you know, just peaceful. There's like all these fucking gnarly things that are killing people and shit, and you're like the only one really who can kind of even make a difference.
But even that is like as trained and as powerful as the Witchers are, they can still just be killed by even common things. Like it's just like if they get a crossbow bolt to the fucking chest, it's gonna kill them no matter what. So like the superheroes per se that everybody's like trying to, you know, needs to kill these fucking monsters is really more about their knowledge of the monsters than like their sword play, because there's people who can use swords in that fucking game. But it takes like Geralt, like he like looks at it as like, oh, the wounds
It's like a
are
walking
fucking,
encyclopedia.
yeah, and the wounds are deep and it's claws and
Geraltpedia.
there's bite marks in the neck. I was like, it must
Oh.
be a fucking
Witcherpedia.
vampire. There we go. And
Well,
you know, so it seems like to me more that like Witchers are needed for their knowledge, not really their. I mean, they are strong and they are buff and fucking.
well,
they use
they
swords really well.
literally are just people who have the tools to take care of the issue.
Exactly.
That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, other people could fight things, but they don't have the necessary. They don't have the weapons that will hurt them. They don't have the potions or the spells or the trap know-how or even what those monsters are capable of.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, otherwise, you could probably sick like 100 dudes after a griffin. It's gonna fucking wreck shit, and eventually it'll die.
Right.
Or you
Yeah.
can send a witcher to fucking trap it and weaken it and kill it.
Yeah, it just seems. Yeah, and like the way they establish like Witchers are for some reason like they're not really liked. Like they're like a lot
People
of
don't
people
trust
I think
yeah.
magic in general, and I'm probably the wrong person to be talking about this because I've not even played the game. Really.
Barely played it, yeah.
But even from the little bit I have, it seems like magic is kind of like a.
Well, yeah. Well, in that
Well,
in
Witcher
that
can
world,
walk up and tell you what to do.
well, yeah,
So the Jedi's.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
just the thing about magic is where you are. That king hates like sorcerers, any kind the shapeshifters called Dopplers. He hates all of that, and he sets them all to fucking death. So whenever there's like
So it's Hitler.
so that weird, yeah, that weird like magic avoidance is because of the king.
Okay.
It's like propaganda,
People,
nationalism.
yeah, like there's like a whole council of sorceresses, and like so like magic has a place in the world. It's just the king is fucking has like a decree that fucking if you help people you're dead. If you so it's all fear,
Right.
you know, which I think is crazy because like The Witcher semi uses magic, and you know, and of course you're friends with
An
fucking
alchemy, right?
wizard. Alchemy,
He's an
yeah.
alchemist.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, so like I don't know, and that to me that adds to it because that was like a whole like quest
Well,
line.
the interesting thing about that though too is like even though the king has that, those rules, and of course the people are going to follow that. I feel like there's an older prejudice against them even before the king. The king's that way because of a world that doesn't embrace that shit.
Right.
Because like I mean, in any of the Witchers, you don't really run into a place where people are like, "Oh, we love Witchers." Everybody's just like, "Hey, fucking Jew boy, I'll give you money if you do this for me."
Yeah.
And the Witcher's like, "Yeah, that's what I do." Everyone knows the exchange, which I think is really neat.
They're like a bounty. Yeah, they're like.
But people still don't
well-known.
like the Witcher. They just know the Witcher will do something for you for money.
Yeah, they'll.
It's like a
they'll get the
fucking,
job done, but it costs
a
that
gypsy
fucking, yeah,
wandering
that costs that
around.
money.
Which I think is really neat. It
definitely
gives
get that
it a feeling that you just don't get from like anything written in here. It's very much feels European in that sense of people going, "Oh, hey, gypsy, come over here and fucking do my bidding for money," and they're like, "Okay, yeah, give me coin," which again makes the world feel different. Something. It's the thing that I love about The Witcher is. The world is fantasy, but it's not fantasy I'm used to. It's not Tolkien fantasy. It's not fucking George R.R. Martin fantasy. It's Eastern European fantasy. It's fucking it's got this I mean the way they dress reminds me of like it's like medieval Poland, like
Yeah.
which is really neat. Like they don't wear I mean some of their dudes have like fucking shit off their armor stuff like that, just like I forgot what they're called, but there's these dudes in Poland that had like fucking wings on their fucking armor and shit that went into battle and stuff like that. I mean, I don't know anything about that really, so it's cool to see that kind of influence in a fantasy game, and
That would actually make sense because it's Polish.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I love that. But
Everything's very very grounded too. Between like all
it
three
almost
games.
feels real without
Yeah,
the
and
magic.
in fact, like Geralt's the weird, not outcast. That's a weird way to put it, but he's the only one of the Witchers that actually like talks to like royalty, and like sleeps with fucking women of magic and shit like that. And it gets brought up like many fucking times.
It's like its own. I don't know how to word this, but like its own culture that everyone else is just not part of.
Yeah,
So
What's my do? 'Cause it seems like most Witchers kind of stay out of shit.
they do
And like
They do.
live, but like on their own and stuff like that. And
Just
stick
go around
together.
and try and make fucking
which you
money.
see in the beginning of 3. But it seems like Geralt. I mean, it's even the way he talks. He's just straight to fucking business with everything. He has a slight sense of humor, but like, he seems like one of the only outgoing Witchers. You see constantly people being caught by surprise that they're even seeing a Witcher talking to them and shit. They're
Yeah.
like, "Oh,
Yeah.
fucking Witcher."
Yeah, and like that's
Because
the thing.
obviously they don't see them that often.
And-
Geralt will fucking talk to anybody.
And that gets brought up in the game quite a bit. Is like the other Witchers from the same school as him are always like they make fun of him because he's worldly,
yeah.
and they're kind of
Reclusive.
they they roam, but it's just to like it's to get money, it's to do stuff like that. Like they're not like fucking kings and shit aren't like, hey you know, or like requesting Geralt. You know, they don't like request someone by they don't request witchers by fucking name. No one knows the name of fucking witchers, but everybody knows who Geralt is.
Yeah.
And
he's of Rivia.
He is of Rivia.
I know this.
But like the world is really neat concerning that, and his character is so out of place in that world for like witchers. It's so like not a witcher trait to be fucking social, and you know, because they're like lone wolves. I mean,
even when he walks into a bar, people are like, "What the fuck are you doing here?"
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Like,
It
everyone
has
just
to do
looks
with,
at him,
like,
and then
like
people
racism and
get up
shit.
out of their seats and have to go talk to him because they don't see witches. They don't want them there.
yeah.
Well, and I did dabble, you know, a little bit, but I remember even playing in the beginning of the third one, going into the first bar there, and sitting at a table trying to get like ask questions, and they did not want me there.
Yeah.
Like, why are you at my table?
And then you can either talk your way out of it, or fucking use your goddamn Jedi mind trick, and that pisses them off because
Or some
that's what they
stupid
fear.
magic.
They don't want you to do that shit.
Yeah.
And you go outside and they go nuts and they want to kill you and shit.
Yeah.
Because like you said, you got in a fist fight there, right?
Yeah, I got to fist
When
fight.
you left, I got into a sword fight
Really?
because of the way I handled it.
And
Yeah.
I talked him down.
Really?
Yeah. So I mean,
Yeah.
that's not. We're not talking about the game itself, but that's one reason why the game's fucking awesome. But yeah, the world just.
That's such a shitty way to live, though. Too like it's just like everybody wants a witcher to do fucking creature shit,
Yeah.
but no one wants a witcher to be there.
Yeah,
Like,
there's this prejudice there.
yeah,
which is
and
really
it's
neat.
like to be a witcher is like.
really dark. Yeah.
And by the way, people don't choose to be witchers. Boys are fucking just given to the witcher schools, which I think is crazy.
Definitely
mutation or
reminds
whatever.
me
So they're
of Jedis.
they're not like chosen. Like there's
They're
actually
pretty much Jedis.
Yeah.
They walk around talking like Jedis too.
there's actually one of the characters is bitter. He's like, and then Geralt's like, you don't want to be a witcher. He's like, I fucking hate it. He's like, he's like, kids are fucking taken from their homes, and pretty much tortured, and fucking now they live for hundreds of years, and they're fucking because it's like 14 something in that game, and they talk about the hell's that guy, the fucking guy you quest with in the very beginning.
The other Witcher in the beginning.
Anyway,
So,
yeah, him. He was around in like 1100. Like he like talks about shit that happened back then.
Yeah, he's old and fat.
Yeah. But like I just think that whole I think it's neat the whole Witcher lore is fucking crazy.
The Witcher lore, yeah. I don't want to discuss too much like the game itself,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, it definitely lends itself to the world. And again, another trait of just good worlds, and probably should wrap this up soon. But it's a world I want to explore. I find myself getting off my horse and walking so often. That is something I do in games. I want to see all the details. I did that in Morrowind.
Yeah.
Like obviously, you weren't riding except for Morrowind, but like you could take
Fast travel.
fast travel, and I always chose not to because I felt like I was missing out on the world if I did that.
Yeah. And you
now
were.
we're in a game or games where fucking you're constantly just teleporting and you don't get to experience the world. I mean that's Skyrim. So The Witcher, I mean I like that fast travel's there, but it's kind of hard to do. It kind of takes you back a little bit and goes, hey, you should actually check the world out. We spent a lot of time on it, and they did, and it's fucking fantastic. I love just walking down narrow trails where the grass is growing over it, but you can tell people walk there, and walking through dense forests, listening to trees crack, which I've never heard in a game before, to the wind, and just feeling that atmosphere and feeling like I am in the fucking woods right now.
And you haven't even experienced the islands, have you?
No.
Whole nother world.
I've literally been to 2 areas, that's it.
It's literally it's like it was crazy. It's crazy. It's two
I
different.
kind of want to
places.
play it now, because I haven't played it in a while.
It's
I
two
wanna
different
get to the
fucking
new
places. It's awesome.
So, but yeah, I think that's a really good pick. Obviously, I identify with that. I love the world in The Witcher. I didn't even fucking think about that. All right, what's your second one you got?
I actually kind of. I wasn't originally going to go with it because I didn't think too many people had played it, but I'm just going to go ahead and do it anyways. Is Seattle from Shadowrun Returns.
Okay.
I completely obsessed with cyberpunk, anyways,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really neat. Even if it is just like the isometric view the whole time, the seeing a familiar place.
Yeah. Which
With all that
different than others you've
cyberpunk
picked so far.
theme and stuff to it, you get to go into these really like neat locations and like actually like actually visualize this world. I also just really enjoy the fact that because in this world people have been mutated into other things. You have essentially different species at this point.
Yeah.
That all can communicate with each other as well. So it's I don't know. It's a lot to it. Obviously, it's before the game even there was a whole pen and paper series. But
Yeah.
it's neat to see it visualized.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, one thing I could add to that too is obviously we're not living in Shadowrun yet, but because we live in Washington, and we've all been to Seattle multiple times, we live near Seattle. We know Seattle, and at least the landmarks for sure, like anybody else. But we've physically seen them, so it is cool to see a futuristic representation of a place you've actually been to. Mm-hmm. It's an actual place. So it's the closest you're gonna get to experiencing a cyberpunk world.
Right.
Is seeing a place you've already been to in real life, reimagined in cyberpunk. It's cool to see that dedication to something that you can identify with. Mm-hmm. I mean, everybody's seen New York and shit. None of us have been there, I don't think.
No.
And it's in everything. But to see like Seattle done up like that, really fucking cool. And definitely different than what we've picked because in a way it's personal.
Yes, it's the only real. Yes, like we have fantasy, worlds, fiction.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's like the first non-fiction.
It's like a futuristic interpretation
Yeah.
of what Seattle could look like in the future.
Yeah, like seeing that Pike's Place like market sign
right in the beginning,
shit,
it's really cool.
I was like, oh,
the sign's
shit.
still there, but it's got all these little subtle changes. Is because it's a darker and grittier world now.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
it's neat.
I thought it was really, really cool. You're right. It's really neat to see like something you've been to explored in a game.
Well, and there's this trend in gaming right now too. I'm seeing Seattle more often in games, which is really weird. It's really cool, but it's really weird because I'm finally understanding where other people are coming from. People who live in cities that are normally in games or movies all the time, always talking about, well, that's not accurate. It's not accurate. I'm like, well, it can't be that accurate. But like seeing the complete injustice of certain cities in Infamous, it's neat to see the landmarks of Seattle, but that's not Seattle. It's not even close. It doesn't feel like Seattle in any fucking way whatsoever.
Yeah, they just took the landmarks and just put it in.
But the city's like almost this like dark brownish red hue, and like it feels like it's in this eternal fucking fall, and like it doesn't
eternal sunset.
It's
man.
just
It's
like, creepy,
yeah.
and Seattle's gray as fuck. Like that's it, unless it's sunny out. Like it's gray. It's not like this weird sunset, weird vibe to it. And there is brick buildings, but not everything's so like red and warm feeling in a dark tone.
it's pretty neutral. Yeah.
It's everything's just it's Seattle. Like fucking grunge
city.
came from here.
Yeah,
People are depressed. It's just gray and drizzly and shit and wet. And I don't think it touched that at all.
No,
you see, like I saw, like the space needle in the game. I'm like, that's cool. I'm like looking at it. I'm like, oh, it looks like it. Even the front area. I'm like, that looks neat. And I look over to the right of it. I'm like, that's not how that is at all.
Yeah.
And then you look around. It's an island.
Yeah.
And I'm like, see, that's not a fucking island. And I get why they did it, but it takes me out. And then Call of Duty, the newest one, you go to a fucking reactor, power plant type thing, right outside Seattle, which I don't think there is one.
No, there isn't.
And you look over and you can kind of see Seattle, but again, it looks like a fucking island.
Yeah,
and it's weird to me because Seattle is not an island.
It's an island. It's on the beach of Puget Sound.
Yeah, it's in the Sound. There's islands out there, but so long story short, because I'm kind of taking away from your thing. At least the Shadowrun Seattle, even though it is isometric, you're not seeing that way, so you can't be taken out of it. You're looking down, you're like, there's streets, there's buildings.
Walking through the streets, seeing the people in the markets and stuff.
And because it's a continuous game that's going to keep going or whatever, Shadowrun does, and all these worlds are connected, stuff like that, you feel like Seattle's lived in. You talk to characters more than you would in those linear games. There's people staying on the side of the streets and shit. It feels like it's alive.
I think
more
there's
so.
2 DLCs where you get to go to different locales too, so you still get that cyberpunk feel in a modern world in other locations. I unfortunately have not
Like other cities,
played
you
them
mean?
yet. Yeah.
Which is cool. But like again, that whole cohesion of even the Seattle place and the other places makes it feel like even though things are going on here in Seattle, things are going on over here too. Mm-hmm. Which again, for anyone who is from those areas, might have the same feeling we get seeing Seattle.
Yeah, and I think it's one of the first times where I actually saw Seattle in a game where, kind of as you said, I didn't feel like it was necessarily misrepresented because, like you said, you don't have that view. But plus, it's not real. Like, neither is like an Infamous, but like Infamous is still trying to look like modern day Seattle. As for this is a futuristic, like, shit has changed Seattle.
Yeah, they literally took that blank slate and then created onto it, whereas Infamous is trying to recreate it. Mm-hmm. And it is futuristic as well, but they're literally it's not the same. They're not going so full bore into it that like it's still they're trying to make it look like modern Seattle.
It has a shiny sci-fi. As far like, but the one thing I do like about the Shadowrun is it's got that darker tone, and even the technology stuff seems like it's gonna be a weird way to put it, but almost like a rustic feel to it. Like it's very older looking, even though it's brand new stuff.
It seems lived in. I think that's the big difference. Whereas the other ones just feel recreated for the sake of recreating. Oh, hey, this looks like Seattle.
Yeah,
play in it. Whereas in like Shadowrun, it feels like people actually live there. There's a culture. There's all this shit. And Shadowrun can offer more in that regard anyway, because it has years and years of fucking lore built up to back that Seattle has been lived in, and there's all these different types of races that live there, and probably people who don't like you based off of what you do or who you are. And yeah, no, it's completely different in tone compared to other games that have tried to do the same. So, no, that's a really good one. I don't know if
that was pretty awesome. I didn't really expect to talk about a world that we saw that we've been to.
Yeah, for sure. No, that was a really good one. Okay, and so for my second one, as I was making this list of worlds that I really enjoy, I started noticing a theme of just bleak and dark things. I guess that's my thing, and that's not that surprising to me. But my second pick is the Metro world.
Okay.
Not only, and I'll go into detail why, but not only is it one of my favorite worlds, I think it's one of the most realized worlds visually that I've ever played. And I'll get into that. But in Metro 2033 and Metro Last Light, essentially nukes went off for some reason, and everybody went into the Metro in Russia to survive, because in real life the Metro was built as a bomb shelter too during Soviet Russia, which is really creepy to me. That they're like, all right, everybody just get in the Metro. So in this world, it's realized that that's what happened. They live down there, and the Earth is still fucked. You cannot survive up there. It's mutated everything. The world is just in ruins and shit, but they still go up there for certain resources with gas masks, but it's limited. It's super bleak. And then in the underground, the Metro's huge, so it's big enough that you have individual factions, but also just individual towns and cities in these really interesting locations. Is that me or you? So to get into it more, you start off, in a town that seems almost like militaristic. Well, at least where you're starting at, and it's just, and to credit the guys who make the game, it is so fucking detailed. You feel like every person is doing something that they do in their normal lives. There's people playing guitar, there's people having conversations, there's people fucking, even when you talk to some guy at a desk, there's people in the background doing random shit. Like, it just feels like people have been living this world for a while now. This is just how things are. People aren't like reminding you like, oh, we all live in the fucking underground. It's like, how's it going, RTM? Like,
that's just normal.
Yeah, like this is life. People are like, oh man, I really miss living above ground. Like, kids are just like, they don't know shit about animals that existed before.
Right.
one of my favorite parts in Last Light, which is a fucking fantastic game if you've never played it. I am way off screen. Is you go to this place, Venice, and it's called Venice because there's a lot of waterways. They've built these. It's so neat there. You walk on these like canals or whatever, and then there's all these small little fucking houses, all just pressed together, all over the place. There's people cooking, eating, talking. There's houses that are built up because there's no room into the ceiling and like hanging over the canals and shit. It's just a really cool place, and it feels so lived in. There's one point where I was walking by these kids sitting on the ground, and this teacher, I think she was doing like shadow puppets or something, showing them shapes and telling them about animals, and it's cool because you can see their ignorance of the world. They did a shadow puppet of like, it was like an elephant or giraffe or something, I don't remember. She's like, oh, what's this? And this kid's like, oh, that's a Nosalis, which is a newer mutation. And they're like, no, it's not. That's I've heard of those, blah blah blah. And they're like, and this kid's like, well, my dad used to go up and hunt Nosalises and shit. They're not constantly reminding you the world's fucked. They're just talking about my dad used to do that shit,
Right.
All that shit
Because they don't have the knowledge of a fucking world that's already gone.
exactly.
Yeah,
It's not just in your face. It's so natural.
Yeah, it's two things about that world that I find it again, it's humanity. Man, the world's completely fucked. At least there, and they're still scraping. They're still just trying to fucking live.
Yeah, shit's not on lock.
They're gonna do whatever they can to fucking still live. Like it's that weird humanity. Man has to survive, and we'll find a way no matter what.
Yeah.
Second, it pisses me off that even in such a desolate area and like such shitty times, man still wants to fight each other.
Still at war, yeah. Over different ideologies.
Dumb shit like that. Like it's not
Resources and
always dumb
ideology.
Yeah, and it's depressing as hell. Like,
and I love it's kind of blatant. It's kind of like in your face in this regard. But I like in the second one, you essentially have neo-Nazis. You have the communists, which makes sense in Russia, and then you have people that are more like free people trying to just live through democracy and shit.
Yeah,
and they all stay the fuck away from each other, and they're all heavily guarded and stuff like that. But they still are. Some of them are planning war and shit like that. There's espionage going on between these places, and this is just an FPS. You're not really partaking in that, but you witness that there's like spying going on and like wars and stuff like that. But even to the point of that, and that's really a point with people being at war and shit, and they're still fighting over shit, even when there's less people.
there's nothing left really. It's just they're fighting over fucking table scraps.
Exactly, and like
That's all they have. Is table scraps.
exactly,
Well,
and
it's just-
like safe havens and shit, because between all these places you have the metro itself, the railroad tracks, which is in itself dangerous. Even underground is
Mutants and
dangerous.
Fucking all sorts of shit.
Is it kind of like the wastelands? Like Fallout, you have your
Yeah,
hubs.
I feel like Metro is a lot fucking more intense than the Wasteland.
Well, I don't mean it in that regard. I just mean like there's the places you live, and then there's everything else.
Oh yeah, pretty much. Yeah. The thing though about the Metro world though is there's a lot more tight in space to live in.
Sure, you're stuck in a tube
Because you're in tubes exactly, and in those tube pockets you have these fucking heavy ass walls, and outside of that there's shit just roaming around.
Right.
And there's people who like walk around out there and do shit, but a lot of them like are heavily armed. They die all the fucking time if they choose to do that kind of stuff. And then outside of that, some people go above ground, which is just fucking anarchy, which is chaos. Like you could come out of a tube and get snatched up by something instantly and just get taken into the fucking those
By
demons
some
or whatever.
mutated, yeah.
those flying, the pterodactyl looking things.
Let alone like some people actually go into buildings and explore shit. And not only are you worried about limited air supply, radioactive fucking water, but mutants that will fucking kill you. And like again, like in Fallout, you have like irradiated areas and shit like that.
Yeah.
But like all of the Earth is fucked. Like you go up there, you got limited time, and you need to watch your ass. Like
even dwindling bullets.
yeah, exactly. Bullets are currency.
Metro,
which is
you have
insane.
fucking nothing. Like it's
Yeah.
so crazy that you literally they have nothing, so they're just trying to make something out of nothing.
Which, in a weird way, as me being like a fan of history and shit, it just screams Russia. It is so Russian that all these people are just getting by with the bare minimum of nothing and still finding some way to not fucking put a bullet in their fucking head.
Yeah, they're no matter what, they're finding something to live for.
Yeah.
Whether it be their children,
whether really it be, bleak world. Yeah. They're still having kids. Yeah. They're still repopulating.
Well, one thing that I did notice in that game too is even in the tunnels, it still feels very lived in because there's still like the developer was very good about like making sure that there's things there so you know that humans or something has been in that area at some point.
Well, there's nests and stuff.
There's
and
not
like you can even go down like small little like tubing areas where you'll find like a area where someone slept, and like it
looks very lived.
Because they were traveling between places, probably on foot or maybe on a cart, and it broke down, something like that.
Yeah. Can traps.
There's just
like if you walk near the cans, they rattle or something like that.
I mean, I haven't even talked about the fucking dark ones. Like that's a whole other element of the world that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Is there is mutated, essentially like aliens, except for they're not. I'm pretty sure that
they're humans.
They're humans, yeah, but they evolved to a point where
the next evolution.
Exactly, and they can get in your brain and shit like that. And of course, just like The Witcher and all that stuff, there is prejudice towards those.
Yeah.
Because we don't know what the fuck they are. We don't know if they're a threat, blah, blah, blah. And some people want to learn to understand, or just try and understand them and communicate with them. Like that one guy, I forgot his name. Yeah, they got the goatee thing. But, and then other people just want to bomb the fuck out of them and kill them because they're a threat. And they could kill you.
Such a sad part in in the first one.
That's something that's another thing I love about the world, though, and sorry to cut you off, but like, again, I'm going to use the word again, but it's so dark and depressing, but beautiful the world is because you're there alone in this fucking wasted place where civilization once was, and now it's just this empty fucking shadow of that, and you're walking through it alone. And there are parts where you're walking and the lightning strikes, and you instantly, for split seconds, see people, what they're doing. That part, like, I have children now thinking about that part because it resonates with me so much because civilization is gone. Yeah, and you see their ghosts and their shadows and shit, and you hear them, and they did in both games. With the second game, they really fucking nailed it,
dude.
I've never seen a game do that so well. But in the first game, you make this long fucking journey that should be hopeless, and they're just like, we gotta fucking launch this bomb into the dark ones, and you go into that fucking tower, and it's just empty and shit. And they're talking about this is where it all happened, this is where the missiles were launched and shit like that. And you're going up wherever you get to the very top, and you just have that view of just how far the devastation is, because from the ground level you see buildings, but it's just
shit,
and then in the second game you see from the fucking plane perspective of when the missiles got launched in modern day, and it's fucking hell-like. It's crazy.
You walk in that plane, you have the flashback, you're actually in the plane, and that's when the bombs hit.
Exactly, and you pass out, and when you wake up, I can't remember anyone's name, but the guy wakes you up, he's like, wake the fuck up, like you're if you stay like this and keep seeing this shit, you're just gonna die. The radiation's getting to you. But you're having these visions and shit, and it's so fucking cool because not only are you seeing the world at present, but you get these glimpses of the past and that horror that happened
crumbling,
and it just really adds to how fucking devastating and just bleak this world is. And unlike Dark Souls, there is nothing in the game that keeps you that's like you need to keep pressing on. You're just like, this is life.
Yeah,
it's not gonna get better. You need to just stop the war, and this world's already shitty.
Yeah, that game too, man. Like the very end of the first one where you do bomb. Like I was like, man, I don't want to press this fucking button. Like
you don't
because Artyom does have that like that connection with the Dark Ones, and he's also one of the kind of guys that's like wants to fucking understand what they are and not just murder them.
Yeah.
But like, and it's like it's a really depressing moment through him because he doesn't want to do it, but he has to, and he does it. I mean, it's just, and then of course you see the devastation that was wrought from that bomb in the second game.
Yeah, you see the one small dark one, and they're like, "Fucking kill it!"
Yeah,
it's been sighted. Fucking snipe it out.
Yeah, and it's just even I don't know. That was one of the times when like breaking orders, like almost was. that he really wanted to fucking break fucking orders and fucking protocol, and because he never believed that the Dark Ones were bad. But of course, you don't really get that feeling until the second game.
Yeah, and the second game really kind of harms that.
The cohesion between the two, though, makes playing the first game again so much better.
Worth it, yeah, absolutely. That's why I put the first one through all the way, is because I beat the second one. And just real quick, so I want to wrap this up a little bit, but another thing that really strikes me is how lived in the world is and stuff is there's an event in the second game where it starts during the day, but it's getting dark out, and you have to go through this like swampy area, and the whole time it's getting darker and darker and darker to the point where they have like these light sources that are kind of like guiding you through. And of course that's a gameplay element, but at the same time it feels like people have traveled through a swamp before and they found the best route, and it's shitty, but it's the only way you can get through that, because otherwise you're walking through irradiated water, and there's this huge fucking like toad monster thing,
the plant thing,
that weird lizard thing that fucking comes after you, that you have to keep not necessarily killing it, but just getting it the fuck away from you. And the whole time you're trying to make it through to the very end, where those guys at the safer point, are waiting for you, but that log fucking breaks. You gotta fight the thing as a boss battle. But it's cool that there's this whole weird roundabout route that didn't feel like the game was just trying to keep me busy, but actually was like, this place is fucked. I can't believe people go through here. And you go through it, and the whole time you're being attacked by this monster and shit.
The whole game never really felt like filler.
The game is so engrossing visually that like it doesn't matter. You're just looking at this going, holy shit, this is really fucking crazy. But I mean, yeah, we're fucking closing out on the 15-minute mark.
Awesome world.
Yeah, awesome world, and it's a game I'd like to play for you,
right?
Since you don't really play games like that too much.
I've only seen parts of it. As
just
you were like, hey, come check this out. So
yeah, just because the game is so fucking amazing.
Right.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for part 1 of Loot Chest. It's a very special episode because we have a third player here.
A lot to talk about.
Things started getting out of. They just go and go and go.
Yeah.
But come join us tomorrow on Friday for part 2 of Favorite Game Worlds. This is Tasty Loot Gaming, and I'm Josh.
My name's Seth.
And of course, that's Chevy.
And thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.